That was all jazzy. Okay, okay.
I know, right?
That
We playing the good music,
was
sis.
all jazzy.
What happened to my phone? It just went out.
Oh no.
It's like some weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it.
I don't
It's
like
very
it.
weird.
I don't
It's
like it.
very weird.
Yeah, I don't like
I don't like this weird stuff.
it.
What's up, everybody? Happy to be here with you all this evening for a Date Affirm the Real. This is my
Yay.
first time returning since I've become Mrs. Goodwin. I was married now.
Yay. Mrs. Goodwin for the good win.
And my cousin left me. My cousin
I
left me.
was like, where'd I go? Where'd I go?
I'm so mad at her. She left me.
We had
She
so
was here
much
with me for
fun.
4 days and I was
It was
loving
so
it.
good. Yes, it
I
was
was
so
loving
good.
it.
So good.
So, we're happy to be here with you all. And as usual, we're going to give you all a quick introduction. I am Keya McClain, the poet,
And I'm,
AKA Keya Goodwin. And that
yep,
is,
Shimeka Arnold, the DAR therapist with her glasses and her hair stuck in the glasses.
she going through some things right now. She going through some
Man,
things right
God,
now.
dog.
But that's okay. But
I'm
that's
back,
okay.
baby. It's okay. I'm back, baby.
She back, y'all. She back. What y'all know about that? So I am going to send out some invites to some people and we're going to get this thing started. In the meantime, I do want to let you all know that we are going to be talking about a very good topic this evening, finding forever how to ask the right questions for long-term love. And
Yes.
so, because Marcus and I have been watching this show called Love is Blind, there have been a lot of things that we've been watching in this reality show that I typically wouldn't watch. But it's been really interesting things. And I think we just like to watch it for um, content purposes, understanding purposes, just studying things and people.
Mm.
So, as always, we are not the gatekeepers of all the information. We share what we know, but we don't know everything.
Mm-hmm.
So eat the fish and throw the bones
Throw the
away.
bones away.
Yeah, that's our disclaimer. That's how we
Yes.
roll. So, first thing I want to talk about is the fact that, and I want us to have a conversation first, and then we're going to play some clips and we're going to kind of dive right into it. But I mean, because you're single, right? And you are experiencing, whether it's now, whether it's before, at any juncture of your singlehood,
Mm-hmm.
what are some things that you feel like in the past you learned from in terms of getting to know the person that you were dating?
Um, Paying attention to the red flags, paying attention to the signs, and I was like, oh no. I used to do a lot of, I can get over that, or I remember one guy. I think I said this before. I remember one guy told me, he's like, I'm an asshole. And I was like, no, don't say that about yourself.
That's not
That's
nice.
not nice. You should speak positive. No, he was telling me the for real. He was telling me the for real, and I should have listened because that's
So
what he
you
became. That's
you
what he
felt like
was.
he was telling you who he was,
He told me exactly who he was, and I
and then
didn't
you made
listen.
a decision not to believe it.
No, that wasn't him. He couldn't. Don't say that about yourself.
Why do you think you made that decision though?
Um, I think because I noticed that I tend to be this nurturer, and I'm like, not, it's this nurturer, and I can show you, I can prove to you that I can help you or change you, or I do, like, I don't know what that is, but I think that's Captain Save a Ho. I don't know. I think it's Captain
Yeah.
Save a Ho. I think it might be Captain Save a Ho
Um,
tendency.
Okay, I'm going to ask you for one more example of that before I share mine. Like one more example of a instant red flag or something a man told you or something a man showed you, but you chose to believe otherwise.
Mm. I'm embarrassed
That's
about
a
this
good
one
one.
because I'm embarrassed about this one, but I'm gonna share it because it's affirmed the real.
We might help somebody. We might help somebody.
He told me he was living with his kid's mother, but he was in a he was in the somewhere else in the space, not sleeping with her.
Mm.
I was like, that's okay. Because I did that when I was about to divorce my husband. We stayed in the same bed, and I was like, oh, I did that twice, I think, though. I did that twice. I did that 2 times.
Captain Saber. So my brother Tart said that he used to be a Captain Saber too. He did. Yeah.
You like, I
Yeah,
agree.
he did. But I had my moments too. I don't think that was like at the forefront for me, but I definitely had my Captain Save 'em hat on several times, right?
Hmm.
Um so what we're going to be really talking about is, especially if you're single, even if you're in the dating phase and you're not in anything serious, you may even be in something serious. I want to talk about something. I wanted to bring this up because there were a lot of things that I would miss, and not due to incompetence. Okay, so
Hmm.
let's be clear. I think many of us think, and we say things about other people. They're stupid, they're dumb, right? We use that type of verbiage, but I think if we kind of dig back into the archives, or it might not even be so back in the archives, your
Man.
shit might be recent. You might have
Hmm.
done some dumb shit recently, okay? But we're
For
not here to
real.
judge that. We're
Not at
only here
all.
to discuss it and bring some
Yes.
things to the forefront, and kind of
Yes.
like what I like to call, I'm just running the highlighter over it. Okay. Like I'm
Right.
just bringing a little bit of attention to it so we can discuss that
Point it
thing.
out. Just point
Yeah,
it out.
yeah.
Okay.
Because like for me personally, there were times where I would see things in people and I would try to rationalize in my head why they did that or why they're
Hmm.
doing that.
Hmm.
um I would try to interpret things to be something different than what they've shown me and what they've told me.
Hmm.
um so I was very much breaking my own heart. I was very much disappointing myself. I
Hmm.
was very much confusing myself. People show you who they are. People
Man.
tell you who they are. And yes, I've had some men finagle. They were some charmers and they finagled. But I
Man.
can't say that there's one relationship that I've been in where I was like, I kind of felt that.
Mm.
Right? Now, I
Hmm.
can't speak for anybody else, but the relationships that I've been in where I felt like on the other side of it, um, that I was done wrong or I got cheated on and lied to,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
there was always those little bitty signs that I chose to ignore.
Yes.
And that's what happens. I think sometimes we're not observing fully all the time.
Right.
Um, we get caught up in maybe what they look like,
Yep.
and we like the attraction that's there. We
Hmm.
like the energy between
Yes. I love.
us and that
Yes.
person, especially
Yes.
like when it's a good energy, a good vibe,
Hmm.
right? Because
Hmm.
sometimes we think that's all it takes.
Hmm.
And I'm going to be honest with you. The people who I had the good energy with like that,
Hmm.
that really was my red flag,
Hmm.
because it's almost blinding in a way.
Hmm.
It prevented me from seeing things that I needed to see because I was
Right.
kind of caught up in the fact that, oh, we got good chemistry, the energy's good. Da, 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 da. Mm-mm. Those are the people
Run.
that finagled me all the
Run.
time, right? But I was open to the finagling. Let's just be clear.
Yes.
I
For
was never a
real.
victim. I was
It
never
was
a
fun.
victim.
It was fun.
It was fun. It was
Fun.
interesting.
Hmm. A
And I
rush.
I felt like I could do something to correct whatever their behavior was, whatever I felt like their wrong was, I thought I could repair it, fix it, change it. That's
And
just
it'll be
the
different
truth.
with me. It'll be different with me.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
be different with me because I'm different.
And the reality of it is people come to you as a mirror to you sometimes too. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
people are showing up and they're seeing how far they can go. They're seeing
Yep.
how much they can do.
Yeah.
And sometimes our energy tells a story about who we are
Yes.
too. So
Yes.
those are things to think about.
Yes.
So again, everybody doesn't watch this show, Love is Blind. However, there are things that we can kind of learn and take away from when watching certain behavior.
Hmm.
So I want to roll this first clip, babe. And the first clip is going to be the Alex and Tim clip.
I told you I was going to take this experiment to the very end. And I did not take you meeting my father and getting him that emotional so lightly. How dare you do that and then just throw it away after 2 days? It's literally been 2 days since you did that. And now you're ready to just throw it away because I fell asleep and because I didn't text you.
I don't hear anything.
Honestly, yes, I took that.
And I can't read none of the things today
Nothing has
because they
happened
little.
to actually do the work to give it a shot.
It's on the phone today.
Put your glasses.
Absolutely.
I can't even with the glasses.
Are we having technical issues, babe?
Am I gonna get to speak?
Absolutely.
All right. So, you want me to cuddle
Burn
with
the
you?
cake.
Burn
All right. So let's go to the Hannah clip and see if that one will play because we don't hear anything on our end.
How much work I put in to do that for when we met your
And we'll come back to this one because I realize you guys may be able to hear it, but we can't.
Like I haven't had girlfriends that I bring over to the house, right? But
I still can't hear it.
I feel like this didn't go too bad. It's nerve-wracking, but I'm at the point with you where you accept me for who I am.
I was expecting like a man's den. I don't think I'm moving into your basement. I think you're moving into my apartment.
Okay, so you guys could hear it. We couldn't hear it. That the particular clip that you guys just saw was a clip between Nick and Hannah. Okay, and did you guys hear it in its entirety before I start talking about that clip? So, cousin, can you read the closed caption that comes up on the video?
I cannot see none of that.
So, because the next one,
somebody said I can hear it.
Yeah, they can hear it. That's what I'm saying. They can hear. We can't hear. So we need to read the caption, and then we can go back and talk about it. Did you guys hear the full video? I'm waiting for some comments to verify before we talk about that clip.
Okay.
Nobody's responding. Babe, I need you to step in. Did the whole clip play? I need you to just come in by audio and let me know something. Okay.
So
they didn't hear it. They didn't hear it. So I need you to play it again.
So she said no because you were talking through it. Okay.
All right, which one you want to play again?
The same one you just played, Hannah.
The Hannah and Nick, babe?
Yes, babe.
All right.
Home tonight.
Like I haven't had girlfriends that I bring over to the house, right? But I feel like this didn't go too bad. It's nerve-wracking, but I'm at the point with you where you accept me for who I am.
I was expecting like a man's den. I don't think I'm moving into your basement. I think you're moving into my apartment. Home tonight.
Like I haven't had girlfriends that I bring over to the house, right? But I feel like this didn't go too bad. It's nerve-wracking, but I'm at the point with you where you accept me for who I am.
I was expecting like a man's den. I don't think I'm moving into your basement. I think you're moving into my apartment.
Okay. So basically what happened in that clip was with Love is Blind. These people start out in pods and they're talking to each other basically through a wall. I'm going to give a short synopsis for those that don't know about it. So if you know about it, just bear with me as I kind of talk about it. So they're talking to each other behind these walls. The premise of the show is just so they can get to know each other without the physical aspect of seeing each other. It's all about kind of really getting to know each other in a deeper way, right? And so, interestingly enough, you get to hear some of the questions they ask of one another and their conversations and things like that. And after some weeks, they decide whether or not they're going to propose and get married. And then they start to live together and spend time together. And then finally, they decide to say yes and get married or not. That's a quick synopsis. In that particular clip, these two people decided to move outside of the pod, get engaged, and move forward to get married. So they're in the beginning stages of like knowing each other and being around each other. And Nick has just taken Hannah to his house. His house is his mama and daddy house, and his room is in the basement. And so that particular clip was showing him showing her the basement. So if you were able to pay attention to body language, facial expression, what was said, what did you pick up from that clip? And from the out, I think it's easier from the outside looking in on stuff. Imagine what it is when you're actually in these types of situations. Are you looking at it from a third person, right? You're looking at your situation because sometimes it helps to do that. Are you looking at your situation from the outside and examining what this really looks like, right? In that situation, I don't think either of them were looking at themselves. Go ahead, cousin.
I was going to say, sometimes in order to help people look from another eye, I say, okay, imagine your friend came to you and told you this. What would you say to them? And
That's
then it
always
helps
good.
them, yeah, and helps them look at it from another eye.
Yeah, that's always good. And thank you for pointing that out because literally, would you tell your friend that you thought that that was a good idea? Now, here's my thing because I've been watching the show and I'm somewhat invested. So, Nick is 28, 29 years old, living with his parents. He's a realist, he's a realtor. And his life has looked very differently than Hannah's life. Hannah was cut off at 18 by her parents. She's had to work. She's had to just have a whole lot of different responsibilities than he's had. And so one of the things is that they weren't really, I don't know, they weren't really, it's okay to be different. But I think that type of difference caused a little bit of maybe resentment on Hannah's part because she's watching Nick, who gets all of this support from his parents, right? And so she's looking at it and she's saying, you're immature and you don't know how to take care of business on your own. And you don't do this and you don't do that. And he's like, I mean, I've been afforded the opportunity to, like, you can look at this very differently, right? You can look at it and say, oh, he's been afforded the opportunity to save money, prepare to buy a home, live comfortably, you know what I'm saying? Be with his parents as they get older, whatever the case may be. There's a lot of different ways you can look at it. I think we tend to look at things one way based on our perspective, based on our experiences. This is just another way to kind of open up the dialogue and kind of broaden your mind a little bit.
Right.
Because he sees Hannah as, he actually respects her. Like, I think that's great that you've done all of these things. And I'm trying to do those things because I know those things matter to you. But she spent a lot of time kind of ridiculing him and emasculating him. It was a lot of that. So, because she felt that her route was more mature, it was better, it was the way to go, right? And so when you talk with people, when you partner with somebody that you think you like, pay attention to their language.
Yeah.
You guys, they may not be bad people. They just might be speaking a different language. That's going to be hard for you guys to connect. We don't think about that in the beginning because sex gets involved, the infatuation gets involved.
Right. Right.
All you've introduced them too quickly to people. All of these different things play a part, and then you don't want to. You try to save face
Hmm.
and not be honest with yourself.
Right.
And in that instance, that's what I saw with them. Like neither of them could be honest with themselves
Hmm.
about what was actually happening. And what was actually happening is you got two pretty decent people. They just don't belong together
Yeah, that was
because
good.
his experience of life is very different. That causes her to look at him and see him in a different light.
Mm-hmm.
But what if he meets a woman who has also been afforded the opportunity to um, reap the benefits of her parents saying, hey, you get to stay here, you get to save your money, I want you to finish school, I want you to do all of these things. She may say, oh, that's great. We come from similar backgrounds. There's going to be respect here. There's going to be honesty here. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Right.
If you don't take the time to assess and pay attention, you're going to find yourself in a 5-year relationship with somebody who's verbally abusive to you. She was
Mm.
very verbally abusive to him.
Hmm.
And he was like, whatever you say, honey, whatever you want me to do. He just
Oh.
wants a woman, right?
Oh.
This is the trouble you can run into, though, when you are not solid with yourself. You start questioning yourself because
Mm.
somebody else is talking down to you, and then you start to feel inadequate, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh man, I'm not a man, I'm not this, I'm not that, when really there's someone else more suitable for you, but we just take the first thing that comes along. That's
Yeah.
the point of my breakdown of that particular
That was good,
scene.
Q. That was good. Because I'm gonna
Thank
be
you.
honest. Like initially, I was like, "Oh, he live in the basement." Because I was thinking the same. I was thinking the same thing she was thinking. Oh, he
Mm-hmm.
live in the basement. But right. But I haven't seen the whole story. Like he can
Yeah.
have money saved that he's like, I'll get to prepare. Like I get this opportunity to set myself up for success because my
Mm-hmm.
parents have afforded me the opportunity to do so. Thank you for
Exactly.
that. Hmm.
Yeah. So I think when we kind of shift our perspective, some people can do that and be different. And they can have those
Hmm.
conversations and they can say, oh, wow, that's interesting perspective. I never thought about it that way. She couldn't think like that.
Hmm.
All she could think about was, I think that's tacky that you live in the basement with your parents. I'm not gonna do that. I don't want to be with a man that lives in his. But again, that's her prerogative and her choice. She
Hmm.
can make that choice if she wants. No judgment against her or him.
Right.
But
Right.
we have to pay attention to people early on. Stop making excuses. Stop wanting it to be a different way. People
Right.
are who they are. And if you
Right.
don't pay attention early on, you're going to find yourself 5 years down the road, and then we become victims. I
Right.
wasted 5 years of my. You chose
You chose that.
to spend
Yep.
5 years with someone, and you both wasted each other's time.
Right.
That's the bottom line, right? We have to start holding ourselves accountable because we get in these situationships, we get in these partnerships with people, but it's not suitable for us.
Mm.
You don't have to be with every person you meet and you have some things in common with. Pay attention to these signs early on so that you don't end up in these situationships.
Right.
So,
Right.
thanks, MK. She said that's a gem.
That was good.
Okay, babe, we're gonna play the next clip. The
Okay, I gotta
next.
run to the bathroom.
Oh, okay. Well,
Okay, play the clip.
okay. Babe, play the next clip with Tyler and Ashley.
I do want to give myself time, and the first step starts with knowing more about that dynamic.
Yeah. I had a very close friend. Her and her wife wanted to have a baby, and they couldn't afford a sperm donor. I thought that was God telling me, help someone else, and it felt good.
Do the kids know what you look like?
I don't think so.
Well, I guess the only thing we can do is take it hour by hour.
So we'll try.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't hear it, so I hope you guys were able to hear that one because I couldn't hear it. So hopefully you guys heard everything. Can you guys confirm if you heard that entire clip for me? Just type yes in the chat. Okay, great. Thank you so much. So that particular clip was between Tyler and Ashley. And Tyler and Ashley are a couple who really hit it off in the pods, and they really hit it off when they met each other. And it really looked like it was going very, very well. I mean, it looked that way.
Right.
However, what actually came out of that, and they have a reunion event that's coming up on the 24th or the 25th. They have the wedding and then the reunion, and some things have been leaked, which happens sometimes in these reality shows. Some things have been leaked about Tyler, who had just shared with her that he was a sperm donor to 3 children. Now, as you watch that clip, and I know you didn't get to see it fully, cousin, so I can't even ask you
Oh no, I
about.
watched it. I watched it.
Oh, you watched it. Okay.
Remember,
So
because I
what?
called you afterwards. I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
wait,
you sure did. So what are your thoughts on that clip?
okay, because it was one question because he said he did that with a friend of his. So I was thinking, I was like, well, how are you not connected to them if that was your friend, like prior to, so I kind of was, and I don't know how, that's an interesting scenario to be put in, right? Because that's not the norm, right? I'm talking to somebody that's a donor and donated his sperm to help this person have kids, but he's not connected to them. Like, is that something I'm okay with? Like, I would have to really take into consideration, is that something I'm okay with?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to deal with baby mama drama because, if you're telling me that you guys agreed there was this mutual agreement, and then I
Mm-hmm.
should have then there should be no drama, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's
Yeah. I think so. For me, when I watched it, I totally missed that part. Right. So I took that whole part out of context because I missed the part about him saying it was, first of all, 3 kids and it was his friend. I don't know how I missed that. I walked out of the room or something. I missed that part.
mm-hmm.
So when me and Marcus were talking about it, I was like, well, I don't see what the big deal is. I mean, he donated some sperm and no big deal. And so Marcus was like, well, I think it's the timing. Like, they're engaged. The wedding is supposed to be like a couple of weeks away. Why is he just now telling her this? He didn't tell her in the pods. And I still was like, so what? He just donated some
Donate it to
sperm to some random person, right? Well, then the breakdown comes for me like, no, you missed that part. It was with a friend. It's 3 kids. Maybe all of the questions were not asked in that moment.
right.
And so of course, we're only seeing clips and edited versions of what they show us.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily know what the conversation was. All I know is she was very upset by that,
Mm-hmm.
right? She was really taken aback. Like, why are you just now telling me this? Why is
Right.
this just now a thing? And now I know why. Because, so you mean to tell me we've been talking all of this time and you got these 3 kids that you actually had with a friend, what was the donor situation looking like? You know what
Right.
I'm saying? This is a
Right.
friend of yours. Like,
Right.
was it artificial insemination? Like, how did you do this? Right?
Right.
Those are some questions that I would ask, but I don't know if she went to that degree with her questioning because we couldn't see every aspect of that
Right.
conversation.
And that's a
Um,
unique situation. That's just a unique situation because people
yeah.
might donate because they need money, right? They might know donate their sperm because because I know women that donate their eggs, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so so then okay, if it was at a sperm bank, right? You donated, you really don't have connection to those kids, right? So then I have to identify um again if I'm okay, because again that's a separate situation. But you said a friend, you're
Yeah.
right. So now you're not friends no more. Like what?
Mm-hmm.
And
And in the clip, she said, "Do these kids know you? Do
right,
these kids have the kids seen you?" Right now, when you look at him and he answers the question, he had to think about it.
right. Oh,
Right? If you paid attention,
Love Bria Love has a comment.
his timing made it feel like manipulation to me personally. That's not something he forgot. There's pictures of him online with his children as well. Right. That's where I was about to go. So, that is it's interesting because you kind of look confused, like, I don't know if the kids know what I look like or not. Now I'm questioning, what? How you don't know if this is your friend, like you said, if this is your friend,
Right,
are you guys still not friends? Like what's going on with that situation? So
right.
what has come out is that his friend was a lesbian that was married to a woman, and that was the story. It
Mm-hmm.
was, I'm donating for you all to have children. Long story short, ultimately, they ended up having an affair with each other, had another kid because they had a set of twins and another kid. And it comes out that they were actually together and he was raising these kids. And once he got on the show, he basically deleted that part of his life.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
So okay,
Diabolical.
yeah,
So we get into levels of how people show up, and how we have to pay attention though. How
man,
we have to be in tuned, how we have to trust our gut, how we
yeah,
have to, those are things that you have to learn through experience. It doesn't come right away all the time because you're not used to somebody going to that level
right,
of being diabolical like that, to lie to that degree. But you really do have to pay attention.
yeah.
You have to pay
I
attention.
know. And Kia, when you presented this, when you were like, we have to come up with questions, and I kind of was like, dang, that's good. Like, what kind of? But so I was thinking too, because as we get older, right there, I've heard of men and men meeting women, and they know they're about to die. They know they're sick and about to die, and they leave the women with the medical bills.
Yeah.
It's and so what kind of questions would you ask?
So, are you talking about a man that leaves the woman with medical bills?
Just period.
Or
So with dating, it made me consider that, like, what type of questions, and then again paying attention to, because it's not just the questions, it's also observation, right?
yes, yes, you got to observe. You ask the question because they can give you whatever answer they want to give you because you don't know yet. But
Mm-hmm.
pay attention to body language. Pay attention to
Mm-hmm.
eyes. Pay attention to the energy that you feel off of them and
Face,
with them.
yes,
Pay
yes.
attention to all of that because people are really showing you. If they're controlling, that's going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
If they're lying, that's going to show up. If they're manipulative, it's going to seep through. So
Mm-hmm.
it's certain things that we just have to hone in and pay attention to.
And we have to
Questions,
take our time.
questions. This is the truth, and Marcus will tell you. I ask questions about family history with health. Um, he divulged that information to me, like, okay, I got this going on, I got that going on. I divulged that information to him, hey, these are some issues that I have going on, even as far as me donating my kidney 13, 14 years ago, whenever it was. Because those are things that can come up later on, right? So I was very specific in my questioning because those things are important to me and they will be relevant later. Your health, if you got bad health, who gonna have to take care of you? Me? And I might not want to sign up for that, better or worse. I might not. And I have every prerogative and right to decide that. I may want to know what your family history is. I was very adamant about meeting his family. Now, why was I adamant about meeting his family? I need to know where you came from. I need to know that. You think I'm getting ready to get into something serious with somebody and I don't know where they came from? I need to go to the place you're from and I need to meet the people.
And I need to watch how you interact with the people and how they interact with you.
So all of those things are extremely important. And if you don't take the time to make those things matter, they're going to show up later. And you're going to be the victim to whatever circumstance you put yourself in. It is our responsibility individually to care for ourselves. Yes. Nobody is going to care for us like we care for us.
Yes.
Now, I met Marcus when I was 45 years old. I had to get to 45 before that became a true lesson in my life. Because prior to that, I was not asking the right questions. And then on top of that, I wasn't paying attention to behavior. So if you don't pay attention to behavior, I don't care what answer you gave me. If your behavior does not align with your words, then I have to make a decision.
Right.
I don't get to later on say, yeah, he was a liar and a cheater. Well, he kind of showed you that, right? So what did you expect to happen? Right. But again, this is through lessons. This is through going through some things because I thought that it was going to be ridiculous for me to keep making that same mistake. So all this conversation is about is take control of your life.
Right.
I hear so many women and so many men say, they did this to me. They did that to me. You did that to you. And that's a hard truth. I know that hurts. You don't want to gulp that down. But at the end of the day, you played yourself. Yes, there are some manipulative people. Yeah. Yes, there's some manipulative people. There are some people that got all kinds of game. But if you ignore any sort of red flag, for the sake of, well, I don't want people to know we broke up. Well, I don't want people to think this. Most of the people I talk to care way too much about what other people think.
Man, ain't that something? Right. That's the issue right there.
Now, you can't, one thing you can't do is finagle me into some unhappiness. Man, that's why I got divorced twice.
Right.
You can't finagle me into the madness. You buried that man. I don't need to do shit. I get to choose happiness for myself.
Yes.
And if you're lying to me and cheating to me, and I didn't recognize that at first, but then the light bulb does come on for me, I have every right to peace out.
Release.
Because I'm not getting ready to just be unhappy for the sake of being in a relationship or marriage.
Right. Yes.
So stop caring about what other people think.
That's right.
Let's go there. Stop caring. Who cares? Let people think what they want to think. Let people assume what they want to assume. This is your life. You get the opportunity to choose.
Man, you get to choose for you. Because most of these people, they're not paying your bills. They're not paying your bills. They're not making a significant impact in your life. Most of the time, they just on the outskirts looking in.
Yep.
And have no clue about who you are. And so if you allow other people to choose and maneuver your own life, you're going to be the one miserable and unhappy. I remember I was looking for a car.
And my mother's husband said, well, make sure you get a car that's good enough, for your mama to ride in. I had that car for I don't know how many years. Got into a car accident, lost the car. Asked me, did my mama ever get in the car with me? Ever get in the car? Never got in the car with me. So when I said, I want to get, she said, my mama said, well, just make sure I can get mama. We're not doing that again. We are not doing that again. I'm not doing this with you.
Please
Right?
understand it.
You got a car. We'll drive your car then.
Yep. And so I think we ultimately hurt ourselves because we're not
Yes.
being authentic to ourselves.
Yes.
We are practicing a high level of fakeness. And when you practice that for so long, you become that.
Yes.
And when you become that, you harm yourself. Then you become deflated and you feel defeated.
Yes.
And once you become that way, then you become bitter. So
Yeah.
anybody that does truly want to connect with you, you have not done the healing work and
Yeah.
you're not really ready to get into a relationship and you're not paying attention to signs because you've deemed yourself as the victim. This is kind of like what will happen around. Now, I can freely talk about this because I used to be these things. So when people say, "What? You ain't no therapist," I've been there, done that. This is the cycle that I was in, right?
Experience.
So I'm speaking on it from straight experience. I ain't
Yep.
read it in no book. Didn't nobody tell me this? This was my experience. I
Right.
was in a loop of being a victim. I was
Yeah.
in a loop of doing the same stupid shit over and over and over. I was picking the same men, but they looked different. I was finding myself in the same situations over and over and over. So at some point, you got to hold yourself accountable, baby.
Yep.
You got to hold yourself accountable. It's nobody else's fault. Sit with yourself, observe yourself, and stop saying there's no good men out there. Stop saying there's no good women out there. Whatever it is that you want, you can attract that. But if you in a state of chaos and confusion and delusion, it's a very real thing. Energy is a very real thing. So when people say, "Oh, it's hard," and I know it is. Now, don't get me wrong, because I hear some single stories, and I be like, "He said what? She did what?" So I hear some stories, but I also know, like, we have to center ourselves, do the work that we need to do on ourselves, put ourselves in spaces that that feels more authentic to who we are, versus just going in spaces because that's where people are.
Right.
Because you're gonna meet people that's not your people. If you go to places that's not your place.
Right. And if you don't know, and here's the thing, if you don't know who you are, you won't even know who your place is. Where your place is.
That's
If you
good.
trying to figure out stuff and trying to figure out like what I'm so confused and my whole life is confusing and things are just okay. Then how you go find anything in that space anyway?
Yeah.
And anything that does show up in that space is an external representation of how you view yourself and how you see yourself. What if that's it? What if that's it? Somebody showing up and you keep seeing the same person with a different name show up, then that might mean that you keep staying in the same space you've been in.
Yeah. And how do we determine that? What am I going to say? Journaling. When you journal, you get to see if it's repetitive. You get to see if it's something a
Yeah.
new experience. You get to see if it's something that's scary. You get to see all of that if you journal. But if
Man.
you keep thinking you can hold it in your head, well, no, the last one wasn't like this. He was 5'6". The last one was 6 foot. No, but he had the same characteristics, right? He was doing the same things. He was telling the same lies.
Yes.
You were feeling the same emotions.
Yeah.
The same emotions was coming up for you, right? So I want to play this last clip, babe. The last clip is we're going to replay the one with Alex and Tim. And this is the last clip, you guys.
Let me see.
And you guys offer your comments and feedback in the comments as well.
how dare you do that and then just throw it away after 2 days? It's literally been 2 days since you did that. And now you're ready to just throw it away because I fell asleep and because I didn't text you?
Honestly, yes, I took that for your father very seriously.
Nothing has happened to actually do the work to give it a shot.
I feel like you don't even see the things
But
that
have
I'm
you
trying to do.
tried?
Absolutely.
With
the
what?
Night, well, would you like me to answer?
Yeah, for sure.
Am I gonna get to speak?
Absolutely.
All right. So, you want me to cuddle with you more. I intentionally rolled over and tried to hold you in that tiny ass bed. And upon asking you, you didn't even notice.
Because I was asleep.
What do you want from me? I don't think you realize how much work I put in to do that. For
To
when we met
cuddle?
no, for your family. I woke up at 8 in the morning and went to the grocery store and had to hunt down a bunch of stuff, season meat, figure out the grill, do all that was work. And after that, I came back and did the dishes. If you sat here and grilled a whole meal for my whole family and I come back to dishes in the sink, I'm not gonna ask you to do the dishes. I'm probably just gonna do them. Maybe I didn't communicate that, sure. However, if I have to communicate that, I am not the one for you.
Do not try to make it seem like I'm not here doing my part at all. We're not going to spin it like that.
I'm gonna spend it like anything.
I've been given such a negative response, a temper tantrum sometimes, like an attitude. I just don't understand it. If it's about the dishes, if it's about me going to sleep, if it's about a text, all of that, it's a slap in the face.
Great. I'm glad you feel that way. There's a lot I could respond to, but there is no scenario that I see myself standing there and saying yes to making you my wife forever. And with that in mind, I'm glad we can at least agree that I don't ever want to see you again. This was nice. I wish you the best of luck.
Wow.
That's what happens when you play with fire.
Told you I was going to.
All right. So first, I want to address these comments, and then I want to hear from Shimeka as a therapist watching that. I have so much to say about that one clip. But so Bree said, I cannot with this man, LOL. MK said, I feel like he wasn't wrong with the energy he was getting from her, but he was a little over the top with he don't ever want to see her again, LOL. So what was your observation of that, cousin?
I don't know. Okay, I feel like he kind of triggered me. I feel like he kind of triggered me. He's like, you don't see all the work I've done. I had to get up in the morning and get some meat and season it. I was like, but then I was like, okay, when he was like, there's dishes in the sink. Did she not see the like? Then I was like, okay, she could have been like, oh babe, you know, but it was like the bare minimum was such a, did you see what I did? It was, I don't know. It was like, I don't, and the communication, it was just, their communication was not, but it sounded like, but honestly, in that space, in that spot right there, it sounded like he was done with her anyway. It didn't sound like he was open to any reconciliation or anything. And so when she mentioned temper tantrums, you know, I could see where he could get that because he didn't get the validation he needed from, like he wanted from her. Again, that external praise that he looked like he required because he got some meat and seasoned it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I like how she didn't, I love how she, when he said and forever, whatever, it was so dramatic. That was very dramatic. It was dramatic. Is that me? Picture me?
MK, yeah.
Yeah, that was very dramatic. I never again, right? But I like how she I like how she didn't jump up or, you know, I like how she was like, I bet.
So I'm going to share my thoughts.
Go ahead.
And I think because I've been watching this, you know, the whole way through. So let me say this. The very first thing in that clip was passive aggression. The very first thing. Are you going to let me talk? Right. And she got silent. She was like, okay. She got silent so that he can talk. But he wanted to assert his aggression. But the way that he did it, very passive aggressive, right? I pay attention to things like that with people because that's a signal, right? And Tanya said, I met that spirit before. Woo, dodge that bullet, right? Because I'm finna go down and Alex, she doesn't get a pass, but right now I'm finna talk about Tim and we got 9 minutes to go. So we might go a little over tonight because I really want to address this one because this clip was different. This clip was showing you communication breakdown when you're having that moment, right? And I think those are the moments that tell you everything you need to know about people. If you are not careful, you will have those types of moments over and over and over again, right?
Yeah.
So you got to pay attention to stuff like that. So the very first thing, passive aggressive. He's like, "Are you going to let me talk? I mean, are you going to let me talk?" He wanted to exert power, right? So then the next step for me was he communicated all these problems he had with her, right? But the moment that he chose to do that, was after his initial purpose of being angry with her was because she took an hour nap while his parents were there. This is how the whole blow up happened. His parents had drove 10 hours to come there. She had spent 4 hours talking to the parents, being around the parents. He had told her he had some apprehension. So there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff that was kind of going on. So she took an hour nap and that infuriated him. But I feel like Tim was manipulating from the very beginning. I felt like he was narcissistic. He shared all of his pains with losing his sisters, and he was bombarding her with his pain. And when you give somebody so much of your pain, they like, I might not even like you, but I feel sorry for you. And I think that's kind of one of the things that happened between them. She just started to feel sorry for him. When they came out of the pods and met, it was very clear there was not a lot of attraction. There was not a lot of, they weren't vibing to me. And she was very irritated with him constantly. That's what I witnessed. So I feel like because of that, he didn't get out of her what he may have been able to get out of her had she really been into him. But when he started to really show up as who he was, that only made her withdraw more, right? I think one of the other things that was missing that a lot of people didn't see, but I heard somebody else say, and I'm going to give them their credits. Another TikToker said this today, and I totally agree with this. I don't think that he was paying enough attention to her because he kept talking about how depressed he was. But she was depressed too. So they trauma bonded. And this is something that we do often too. We trauma bond with people. I think that Alex was depressed. I think Alex was suffering in silence. She has 2 parents that are ill. She is the oldest sibling and the only sister with 2 younger brothers. She's responsible for a lot of things. She's very withdrawn and doesn't speak. Looking at her house was that was a sign. When I was depressed, my house looked a mess. Her house was a mess.
Wow.
So there are certain things that you just kind of have to pay attention to and hone in on. And he wasn't real harsh about how her place looked. His face told the story, but he didn't say a lot of things. But again, this is where paying attention and observing people is so important. And I think the reason why she didn't go off the Richter when he was like, I don't ever want to see you again, because she was tired.
She probably shut down too.
She was tired. Yep. She was tired and she shut down. And the worst thing to her was that he did all of that to her dad, who she explained was the most important person in her life, made her dad cry with his proposal. So she's completely shut down. She's already in this depressed state.
Wow.
She didn't share a lot of vulnerability. And so I just think she had it with him. And he was abusive. He was very emotionally abusive. And that's where I believe the narcissistic just was showing up. It was just like, it was obvious to me. But again, that very short clip was, to me, when you see people communicate that way, where they completely shut it off, shut it down, I'm done. If you don't know how to do that, and this is something I used to do also, I chose those clips very specifically because I feel like from experience, I can talk about it. If people used to piss me off, I would say, if I got to tell you that, I'm done. Well, how else will people know it? Everybody doesn't operate the same way. It is a courtesy to explain to people. Now, if you have to keep doing it over and over and over again, that's another story. But I may move very differently. You can tell by her house. She moves very differently. So you had to tell her, I need you to wash them dishes because I cooked. Now, if she didn't do it, now you got a different conversation.
Right.
But we don't pay enough attention to things like that. We only consider our own feelings.
And I was gonna say, with you saying like she didn't open up as much, like did she feel safe to do so? Like think about when you're in a relationship, are we listening more to them and their problems, and not being able to create a safe, and not being able to have a safe space to share, like just us, parts of
Yeah.
us in the conversation, and yeah. So when you said that, when you was like, she didn't share enough of her, did she have a safe space to do so?
Yeah. And no, because he was constantly trauma dumping on her. He was constantly talking about his sisters. He gifted her one of his dead sister's bracelet. It was just constant. Then when you see the interaction, which we didn't play here tonight, but there was an interaction between her and his parents. And that was interesting because the dad never opened his mouth.
Oh.
Never opened his mouth. The mama talked the whole time, and the dad never said anything.
Wow.
So you're getting a glimpse. This is why meeting family is important. That's why, like, you have to pay attention to the interactions between that person, friends, meeting their friends. Pay attention to the interactions with these people.
Yep.
It's going to tell you a story. If people say things like, I'm not going to say which husband, but one of my previous husbands, sister said, are you sure you want to marry him?
Well.
Right? But if somebody is making themselves out to be the victim and telling you everybody else is bad, which is what he told me, and you believe that, you're like, oh, I ain't going to believe his sister. But his sister was warning me.
He already prepped you to not. He set it up.
Yeah. But again, had I paid attention to behavior, had I paid attention to how the words and the actions were not lining up, then I wouldn't have had to worry about what she said to me.
Right.
MK said, I thought the bracelet thing was so strange. It was so strange. He gave her the bracelet while they were still in the pods. And I'm like, you don't even know her. Y'all been talking for a couple of weeks and you gave her your dad's sister bracelet?
Wow.
But it was about creating that trauma bond so she would feel guilty
if she didn't choose him. Wow. And she accepted, like, yeah, because I probably would have been like, I probably would have said no, reject, like, because I don't know if I'm gonna choose you, baby.
Yeah.
But
what else? You put her in a position of you manipulated her, right? Like Bree said earlier, you manipulated her. Yep. You started in manipulation.
Right.
And so that's why I feel like she chose you, and that's why she didn't like you. That's why she was annoyed. That's why, like, you could tell immediately. Yeah, a couple of days. You could tell immediately she was not feeling him.
Wow.
That was so obvious. So obvious. So I feel like every couple on the show had a bunch of red flags, but there was one couple, which I call my favorite couple, Garrett and Taylor. I feel like the ball is going to drop. Something's going to drop with them. I'll find out as I um, continue to watch the last two episodes. The last episode and then the reunion. So I think a ball is going to drop on them, but we'll see because Garrett did get caught in a lie, and I've been side eyeing him. Like,
I gotta catch up.
for real, Garrett, for real. Like, I named them my favorite since the beginning, but now I'm questioning it. I'm questioning it. So again, you guys, we just kind of wanted to go through 3 different clips of 3 different ways that you can start to study and assess and start practicing doing this on your own. Start to observe more. Right. Stop giving so much information up freely at the very beginning. Right. You don't have to share everything with people out the gate, because sometimes people use those things and then they use it to manipulate you. Right. So be careful about that. Be honest about stuff, but you don't have to give them your whole life story, because everybody's not good and they not trying to use that information for good. Right. So be careful with that. Does anybody have questions or comments or things to add? Cousin, what you want to add?
Because I feel like when you're in the middle of it, when you're in it, just make sure you have a good support system. Make sure you have a good support system that you can step out and be like, okay, I trust your evaluation of this. Because I'm feeling a little something.
Yeah.
A little something. It's a little something. I don't know what it is. Like, can you, if you can help me with this little something, see if it's something, right?
Something.
I don't know what it is. It's something. And then just, I think that we want to, like, sometimes we just want to be in a relationship so bad we're willing to choose anything at the sake of at the expense of us.
Yeah.
And so at what point do you decide or determine that, do I want this at the cost of me? Am I valuable enough, or do I consider myself valuable or important enough to choose something that's important and that's valuable, that'll create that value, create more value, create me feeling more valued and valuable to myself.
I had to breathe out on that one. I'm sorry if y'all heard that breath. Ooh. Because it took me back, right? It was almost like, ooh. Because I remember a time where I didn't consider myself and I wasn't loving on myself the way I should have, and I wasn't observing the way I needed to, and I wasn't honoring myself the way I needed to. And so, if nothing else, like really, 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 let's just really honor ourselves. Like, let's protect ourselves. Let's make ourselves a priority.
Yes. I think that's the important thing.
MK said, I want to add, stay in prayer about the people you're connected to. Ask for discernment.
Yes. Discernment. Yes.
Yep. Because that discernment is something that, look, and
we see it, but I feel
we don't honor it.
We see it and keep it moving and and still jump on in it. Like, I'm just gonna jump because it's gonna be fun.
Because that's the part I was talking about.
I've done it. I've seen the flags, and I'm like,
I've always had a discerning spirit, right? And we all do. All of us do. They keep saying women got all the intuition. No, men have the exact same thing that we have.
Call it a gut feeling.
Everybody has this. Now, whether or not you honor it is another thing, but we all have discernment.
Right.
We all have it. You don't even have to do anything extra for it. It's natural. It comes to you natural. But if you don't honor it and listen.
And here's the thing too. Because I am a nurturer and a nurturing spirit, people will come and
and they'll want to get that nurturing from me because they love being loved. And
Mm-hmm.
that love, right? But does that mean that they're supposed to be for me? That does not always mean they're supposed to be for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes coming to get that, and then it's okay for them to go on. It's like, they get to see and you get to have conversations, and it doesn't mean that it's supposed to be a relationship.
Yeah. That's so true.
So we
And
have to,
again, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, we just have to identify if this is supposed to be a relationship, or is this somebody coming to, to receive the nurturing that and I
And
don't
that's
want.
the part I was just going to say. That's the part MK, I think, was kind of referencing. And that is the, stay in prayer about it. Because
Yes,
sometimes if you get disconnected, that's how you can miss honoring your discernment.
yes,
So you have to stay connected. You have to stay true to yourself. You have to
yes,
stay true to, who it is that you believe is your spirit guides. You have to stay true to that, because if you don't, you will be out of alignment. You
yes.
will be out of alignment, and people will see it. People will feel it. People understand this about people. As much as we want, I used to tell my son and my nephew this. Look here, Michael Jackson's. Let me tell y'all Michael Jackson's something else.
Hmm.
We are the world, everybody great and amazing and wonderful. That is not the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to get played all through life if you keep walking through life
Right.
thinking we are the world and everybody gonna love you and everybody gonna be wonderful. And
Yeah.
stop thinking that.
Yep.
Everybody is not going to be good to you. You
Yeah.
cannot be that gullible, right? That you cannot be that gullible. You
Yep.
can't. You cannot believe everything somebody say to you, show you. You have to believe and trust what is your spirit telling you about people.
And you feel it,
You'll feel it.
like you feel like like you feel like
Mm-hmm.
when somebody talks to you, you have that stomach drop feeling, or that
Yeah.
you feel it. We just don't pay attention to it all the time because we're
Yeah.
so caught up, or we're so not present with ourselves.
Yeah. That's the word. That was the word right there I was waiting for. Because
We're
we're
not
not
present.
present with ourselves.
And
We, yeah, the journaling.
the journaling keep you present, because you're right. You can write okay, let me see, what am I picking up, what am I getting from this situation? Do I feel comfortable? Do I feel heard? Do I feel
Mm-hmm.
like replenished when I'm finished with them, or do I feel depleted? That's how.
And then lastly, I want to talk about, before we close out, I just want to say, as you journal, as you connect deeper with yourself, as you identify your wants versus your needs versus your desires, like, create columns for all of those,
Mm,
because you will get confused and think a desire is a want. You'll
mm.
get confused and think a desire is a need.
Right, right,
So
right.
you have to start practicing connecting with yourself so much more
Yes,
than what
yes,
we've been doing,
yes.
because that disconnection of yourself will have you lining up with things that is all on the desire list. And
Mm,
then that confuses you, and it gets you in situationships. It gets you in partnerships that you have no business being in.
man.
So take the time to just really sit with yourself and understand who you are, what you
Yes.
desire, but what it is that you really need. Because
Mm-hmm.
I can have a whole bunch of desires. That don't necessarily mean I need that.
Mm-hmm.
Might not be healthy for me.
Mm-hmm.
Might not be practical for me.
Right,
But, and I'm not saying you can't have desires too,
right.
right? You can have those things too. But I think sometimes we get a little skewed
Mm-hmm.
when all we're looking at is desire, desire, desire.
Mm-hmm.
So start to practice that. Like, what do I want for myself?
Right,
Who does that person look like?
right.
Yeah, love yourself before someone can show you what a toxic side of love looks like. I love that, Bree,
Yes.
because people will show you the toxic, and then you'll be believing that's all I can get, that's
Mm-hmm.
all I deserve, and now you in a 20-year toxic
Mm-mm.
ass relationship.
Unhappy. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Don't do it. Don't do it,
Don't
Cletus.
do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't
So
do
I
it.
know we went a little over. We started a little late. Thank you all for staying with us the entire time. Um, and again, I not again because I didn't say this earlier. We're only going to probably have a couple of more shows before we close out for the remainder of the year because of holidays. So make sure that you're sharing this. Make sure that you've subscribed to the YouTube channel and you're following on Instagram. Get
Yes.
your friends and your family to support as well. We have some exciting stuff coming up in 2025. Thank you all for continuing on this journey with us.
Yes.
We're so excited that we were able to have a special live with all four of us, me, Marcus, Shimeka,
Yes. So amazing.
Junior Lily. It
I
was so amazing. If you missed it, go back and watch the replay.
love that.
If you want me to send you the link, I will do that. It was
Yes.
such an amazing live
Yes.
with the four of us the
Agree.
day after the wedding.
Yes.
So make sure you tune in to that. And then what else did I want to remind you guys of? I think, oh, the last thing I want to remind you guys of, if you missed the beginning, I'll remind you again. I was married now. I'm Mrs. Goodwin.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
Mrs. Goodwin. I'm
Yes.
still Keya McClain, the poet. Okay. But I'm Mrs. Goodwin. Don't
Yes.
get it twisted.
Yes.
So thank you guys again for joining
Yes.
us. This was such a good conversation. Feel free to shoot us your messages with any thoughts on topics
Yes.
that you would like for us to discuss, um, thoughts about how we're doing, what you would like to see changed. We welcome that feedback. So, Shimeka, can you close us out as always?
Thank you guys for being with us. Thank you for connecting with us and engaging with us. We just really appreciate you. So we're going to take 2 deep breaths. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. All of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. How does it get any better? And what else is possible? And what else is possible for you guys? Until we see you again.
Yes. Peace, joy, and happiness to you and your
Yeah.
family. And next week, Marcus and Junior Lily are up. Make sure
Yeah.
you tune in next Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you come back and watch the replay, make sure you put hashtag replay in the comments.
Yes.
And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye-bye.